All right, we are back on Morning Line. It is our final segment this morning with Clint Kelly, malpractice attorney. If you want to jump in, you can join in the conversation. 737-7587. Again, Clint, your office is there in Hendersonville.
Correct.
And do you basically do only cases in state court? Will you sometimes do federal if it's malpractice, class action, or?
Yeah, I've got a couple of federal cases going right now.
Now, what are they? Why does it end up in federal court as opposed to state for you?
One of them, you remember the drug case where the patient took the wrong drug because the pharmacy gave the wrong drug. Well, in that case, the pharmacy is incorporated in another state, and the patient's from Tennessee, and so you can go to federal court if you've got citizens and corporations that are from different states.
I see. That's how you cross over the line.
Correct.
Right?
I had a case a couple of years ago with a physician whose wife died at a local hospital, and he was able to bring that case in federal court because at the time he filed the lawsuit, he was a resident in Arkansas.
Okay.
And the hospital was from Nashville, so we were able to file that case in federal court. And I take cases all across the state of Tennessee.
Yeah. All right. And how many malpractice attorneys like yourself in the state?
Well, there are a number of
I know that handle cases, but specialized.
Board certified, yeah. You're probably looking at somewhere less than 30.
Think about that. Think about that.
Yeah.
30 certified. And explain to the folks, just there are lawyers out there that do general practice that will say we can take a malpractice case. What's the difference between a certified attorney in this field?
All right, I'm board certified, which means that I took a written exam, I took a verbal exam. I had to have at least 10 jury trials and medical negligence cases that I was lead counsel in order to become certified. It's a very unique system that we have to ensure that people like me know exactly what we're doing, because in this area of law you have to know what you're doing, or else you can really expose your client to some bad outcomes.
Yeah, and the key for that then is that's the only kind of case you take.
Correct.
That's it. He doesn't take any others. Let's go to Stan. Stan, good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, Stan. How can we help you?
My quick question, so I won't tie you up, but if a doctor that you've been going to got prosecuted, lost his license, closed his office, how do you get your medical records?
That's a great question.
Because he's got a load of them on his wall, and who knows what he's doing with them.
Yeah, you're talking about that big wall file cabinet where they're all there. I know what you're talking about, yeah.
He is supposed to preserve those records even if he loses his license. Doctors like that are supposed to refer these patients to other physicians and send those records to other physicians in order to get that patient care. But from a practical standpoint, Stan, I'm really not sure what you would do if that doctor destroyed those records. You could obviously sue the doctor, and you could try to litigate the case without the records if he destroyed them, because if he destroyed them, or you could prove he destroyed them, that would be an adverse inference you could have against. In other words, you could use that against the doctor in court, presuming he has malpractice insurance. But I've never had that situation arise before.
Interesting. So, but if you want to get your records, you can call and ask them, and if it's across state lines or something, that's a pain. But can't I just go right now, if I want, to my doctor's office, which is out there at Summit Medical Care in Mount Juliet, or in Hermitage, I guess. I'm walking to the office and go, Nick Barris, here's my ID. I want to copy all my files right now.
Yes.
Just show up personally. Now, I don't know if he has an office still, this doctor, that he could just go in physically. Say, I'm here to get my medical files. I know you're bankrupt and you're probably disbarred or whatever. You've lost your medical license, whatever. I want my records right now.
Well, the situation Stan's describing, I think, would be exceedingly rare, but the vast majority of the time you can walk in the doctor's office, and nowadays records, most of them are electronic.
Oh,
so
right,
they just punch a print button and they just print them out. It used to be you'd have to take the
I'm thinking about the file, yeah.
Open it up, take it off the little clip, stick it on the copy machine. That's becoming a very rare event these days.
Okay, but yeah, getting hold of the medical records is crucial. When you go after them, do they ever push back on you? Not getting them to you as fast as you'd like?
It's rare. Now, getting them as fast as I like, that's more commonplace, but I do ultimately get them.
Okay, you do get them.
Yes.
And let's go to Cheryl. Cheryl, good morning. Hi, Cheryl.
Hi.
Hey, what can we do for you?
I just wanted to make a comment, Nick, if that's all right, about the medical records.
Sure.
Yeah, my advice to anybody out there, I mean, I'm not a professional or anything like that. I did work in the medical field many, many years ago.
Yeah.
But the thing that I do anytime there's anything done for me at the doctor's office or whatever, I always get a copy.
Right then and there, while you're there, just say, I want a copy of my record.
That's right.
Not a
And
bad
I
idea.
have copies of my medical records in a file of everything that's ever been done to me.
That's really smart. That's smart.
And sometimes they'll charge you, you know, but that's okay. That's just for making the copies.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And that's understandable. But always keep a copy of your medical records. We had a doctor here recently that his license was taken away in another county, and then he died because he had cancer. And none of his patients were referred to anybody else. And a friend of mine, as a matter of fact, went to him. And now he can't get his medical record.
Holy cow. Listen,
Yeah,
I think listen, I appreciate your call. We got to get to another call before we run it out, but it's a great idea, isn't it?
It's great advice, great way to have self-protection.
Just when you go in, ask it and make your own file at home. That's a great idea. Thank you for your call. Let's go to Trish real quick. Trish, good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good.
I need to know if you could possibly tell me an attorney that would handle a medical situation here happened there locally where my wife died that worked at a hospital, and all of her records seem to have disappeared, and they won't let me know anything about it.
So, did your wife die under suspicious circumstances?
Yes, sir. She worked in the hospital, and she died there on duty. And everything's been covered up. It's be 5 years, the 28th of August.
5 years? Oh, so, well, what did they say the cause of death was?
Well, he hauled around, and then finally they said she had a mitral valve in her heart had exploded. But she was in great health. She just had a physical for the hospital several days before that. But her insurance from her work disappeared. They don't know nothing. They had cameras in the hospital. The footage from the cameras just disappeared. No good answers.
Ah,
I think what's going to be difficult is finding someone that's going to take a case on a death that's 5 years old.
Yeah.
That's what's going to make this tough.
Well, I had two local attorneys that was listening really well. I'm not going to mention any names. But they took the case, and all of a sudden they just said, well, we can't do nothing, and then they dropped the case.
And so was the case going to be you hired them thinking you were just going to sue the hospital? What's weird, this is not a malpractice case. She keeled over because she was working at the hospital. I mean, do you think there was something criminal that happened here? Because that's maybe where you should have filed a police report and opened up a criminal investigation if you thought, you think she was murdered?
I did do this, exactly. And after about 2 months, all of a sudden he got dropped.
Oh, maybe they weren't able to find anything. Yeah, that's bizarre. I don't know. What else? If you filed that and records, it's not a malpractice case, Clint. So
no, I couldn't tell if he was saying that he went to the district attorney, which is what I would do if I suspected criminal conduct. At first, when I heard it, I thought maybe it was a workers' compensation action, perhaps that she had died on the job and he was trying to get work comp benefits. But if there's a suspicion that's criminal activity, I would go to the district attorney sooner than later.
But this is 5 years ago, and if he went to it. And he's gone to lawyers. I'm not sure there's anything he can do now,
long time,
unless some new information comes up. And it sounds like if there was a cover-up, all that stuff's gone.
Yeah, I wish I could help you. I just don't know anyone that would be interested in taking that on.
Yeah, unusual situation. Listen, we just have a couple minutes to wrap things up. I want to hit people with the final points on this. All right, if someone, a lot of people may be watching and they're not comfortable calling on to an on-air show. Sure. I understand that. So if they think they have something, we can put the number up on the screen for Clint's office. Let them know the protocol when they call, how it works.
Yeah. When they call that number, and then when they do, ask to speak to Nurse Kathy. Nurse Kathy is my assistant who screens cases. First thing you want to do is explain, here's what the case is about, here's what I think went wrong. Kathy will type up a report for me to look at, and then I'll make a judgment based on that report and her recommendation whether I believe the case warrants further investigation. More often than not, when I read these reports, I come to the conclusion that it's probably not going to be a successful case, and I'll write a letter to the client explaining why I couldn't take it. But if it is what I consider to be a meritorious case or a case worth investigating, I will then meet with the client, get the medical records, and send those records to a medical expert to give me a formal opinion about whether or not there's been malpractice.
And again, I know cases run the gamut, and this is probably a stupid question. You're not really able to give a reasonable timetable if you take a case. of what it takes for resolution? And what's the longest you've been on a case?
Yeah, well, actually, I can, Nick.
Oh, can you?
Yeah, depending on the county that I'm in, but more often than not, I'll get the case resolved between 18 months and 3 years, somewhere in that time frame. Probably a little closer to the 18 months than the 3 years. 3 years is about as long as I've gone.
Okay, and people may say, wow, that's a long time. Why does it take? And I don't know. In the context of what you do, that's accepted. But why does it take that much time?
Because sometimes these court systems are really clogged up. Even though they're not trying a lot of cases, they're filled up with a lot of cases. And so the judge will set the case months down the road, perhaps even a year down the road. And sometimes there are witnesses that are difficult to find. Sometimes there are continuances that have to be granted. So that's the reason why it can be lengthened. But I try to get the case resolved somewhere around that 18-month period.
Gotcha. Well, Clint's one of the very best at it. And listen, thanks for coming on, my friend.
Thank you, Nick. I appreciate it.
We'll see you again soon. And when we come back, too, I'll throw the number up for you one more time if you want to get hold of that. But we'll see him again next month. So it's good to have you on, my friend.
Thank you.
We'll take a break. Be back with a programming note about tomorrow right after this.